Hey all, here OS Reviews. So in the past, we checked out a couple of Galaxy Star projector lights, and I thought they were pretty cool decor pieces, using lasers as well as LEDs to set the vibe. However, these models don't often have the most accurate representation of true stars in the galaxy, because they are just using lasers to simulate that effect, without necessarily being as astronomically correct. And so today we're taking a look at a version that might be a more refined product, supposedly more accurate using some of the projection slides that you can pop in, providing more customization because it doesn't only create one effect, but depending on what type of slide you insert into the projector, you can explore different types of designs, some of them which are more artistic, others which might be black and white and more accurate. And this particular slide is an image of the Westerland 2 galaxy compared to other ones which are kind of a fake or simulated galaxy effect. So you can pick and choose, like this one which might be a bit more creative instead, along with having timers that can automatically turn off after 15 or 30 minutes of use. And it features a built-in battery that can last for roughly 6 hours of continuous use, or you can plug it in at the same time. Other slide designs include moon, plus other celestial bodies and planets, and the projector itself comes in 4 colors, including white, silver, black, and even pink. So I've also picked up 3 additional disc sets to showcase as examples, inclusive of this dreamy nature pack. These are of course a little bit more creatively inclined and featuring scenes from within planet Earth, but will hopefully still be quite vibrant and beautiful, again setting the vibe and more relaxing tone as you fall asleep. Compared to this set here is the Cosmic Odyssey Galaxy set that we also have as an example of the black and white slides. And then the last set that I picked up was the Fixed Star and Nebula collection, inclusive of depictions of Stephan's Quintet, a Helix Nebula, a Southern Ring Nebula, cosmic cliffs, and also the Pillars of Creation. So again, fans of astrophysics will probably find this to be a pretty cool gift or gadget idea because it offers, again, a bit more realism compared to some of the generic Galaxy Star or Ocean Wave projectors. And the company also claims they'll continue to bring out more slides continuously, like this one, which is all about the moon and stars, showing various moon phases, meteor shower, and the black hole, compared to the immersive planet galaxy set within the solar system, including Saturn, Uranus, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, and Neptune, and representations of even more galaxies of the universe. Alternatively, for fans of constellations, you can find a realistic constellation pack, inclusive of various signs like Taurus, Virgo, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, versus Leo, Sagittarius, Scorpio, so on and so forth. Another more realistic depiction that might be fun if you're into reading your star signs. So you get the idea. There are different expansion packs of 3, 6, or 8 additional slides that you can pick up and customize down the road. As for the main projector box, aside from the actual unit, you'll also find a standard USB Type-C charging cable as well as a quick start guide, plus 2 bonus slides pre-included with the projector, which are, in our case, the Diamond Stars as well as the Westerland 2. And the user guide also folds out into almost like a poster-like presentation. It states there are 153,000 stars to sleep with, all in the universe, and then we have an image of the Galaxy projector lamp. So it is indeed pretty well presented, and on the very back are going to be some of the quick specs in terms of how to pop in the slides within the projection tray. Base of the projector can also be tilted up to 30 degrees, and also some of the other slide packs that we saw there previously. Now, 2 features this model doesn't come included with, though, would be any app compatibility. There is no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, so you simply pop in the slide, turn it on, and you're ready to go. There's also no built-in speaker like on some models that we've seen previously for playing music or nature sounds, making it even more of a dreamlike experience by combining soundscapes in addition to the visual effects. Almost like a mini CD box, it's transparent acrylic, and then we have the slide, which by the way can actually work in either orientation, front or back. I found that it doesn't actually really matter, just make sure you wipe it down from any fingerprints and you should be good to go. As for the slide projection packs, they also have, again, the cartridges, and each of them come with their own cover art, labeled in a pretty self-explanatory way, like this Fuji Mountain, which is going to be the nature scene pack, versus the black and white galaxy-inspired theme pack, and also the Fixed Star and Galaxy pack as well. As for the projector unit itself, it's relatively lightweight, crafted out of plastic, but we have the rotatable base pivots left and right, bottom here featuring the Type-C port for charging the built-in battery, a simple power on and off key, as well as the self-timer capability, and also a rotation button, so there is a motor built in that can rotate the slides, making it feel like the stars are slowly spinning around in the room, creating a slightly more dynamic experience. Some soft touch rubber feet at the base here to prevent it from sliding around on a surface, and then we have just the focus wheel up top, as well as the slide insert here. Again, either orientation can work, and then simply pop it in when you're ready to go. So relatively simple and pretty much instantly turns on with the light once you click on the power key. And turning it on here, a couple of first impressions would be, unlike the laser projector versions, because it's still using an LED shining through the projection slides, the overall brightness output is going to be a bit more limited, and so for the best effect, you should probably be in a darker space or environment. Such as now, with all the lights turned off in the room, it becomes a lot more dazzling, and I can confirm that for the maximum distance, it can stretch over 150 inches on the ceiling, and things are still looking relatively sharp. Of course, the larger that you go, you also are going to get slightly dimmer output, plus technically lower pixels per inch when it comes to the resolution, so keep that in mind. And in terms of the minimum focusing distance, it just has to be 1 feet away from a wall for it to be seen, so it's relatively short throw as well if you wanted to have a smaller image, maybe behind a monitor when you're doing work in an office, for example. And adjusting the focus using the wheel there is actually pretty easy to do. So for example, now the image is getting a lot more fuzzy versus continuing to twist it until it becomes clear based on, again, the distance you are from the wall, remaining impressively sharp. And I have to say this black and white effect is done quite well. It's pretty easy to get entranced and just lost in this sea of slowly moving stars. Again, looking quite good even on this default included slide. Also, this is what it looks like without any slide inserted, basically a stronger LED beam, like a flashlight, across the wall or ceiling, as you can tell. And it's very quiet, even though we have the motor turned on. It almost sounds completely silent. It's more quiet than any fan on a computer or laptop, for example, and shouldn't be distracting at all. Now, maybe only one thing I will say is when it comes to removing the slides from the projection door, I wish there was a slightly more elegant way of doing this. For example, maybe a eject mechanism like a CD player or a tab to lift it up, because as it stands, you either have to push it up from the bottom, which would be touching it, adding some fingerprints, or just popping it down like this and giving it a shake, but it doesn't always come out because it's relatively tight. And so the slides might get a little bit more easily smudged with some fingerprints that you have to then wipe down. And the next example is the Westerlund 2, also showing off the contrast and colors, looking quite good. Although when it comes to the sharpness, I will say that the black and white sides maybe just seem a touch more crisp as far as the details are concerned. This one might be just a hair softer, but overall still is looking quite beautiful and offering a realistic glimpse into a galaxy far, far away somewhere in the universe. Popping off the slide again, you can technically tell that inside of this door, these cogs are slowly rotating if you're using it in the movement mode. That being said, again, the projector unit itself is really simple, so maybe if they did want to make a pro model down the line, they could allow you to control the brightness of the projected light to be stronger versus weaker, maybe even the color temperature to be warmer versus cooler. That can add a bit more granularity over what you can adjust. Right now, though, it's either just on or off, but at least it is very simple to operate. And now moving into the Cosmic Odyssey slides, I think these black and white slides actually might be some of my favorites so far, just because of how crystal clear they are. Astronaut here has a name tag saying POCOCO, which is the name of the company, floating there in a sea of stars. Now, obviously this one is a little bit more artistic and abstract, not quite as realistic per se, but still sets off a pretty nice vibe that's also rather unique, as far as the artwork itself being original at the very least. And here's that same slide. If we flip it around in the projector, you can see that it still is functional. It just then flips the orientation of the astronaut figure here to look something like this. So like we mentioned before, the order that you pop in the slides into the projector don't necessarily matter. Kind of like a cassette tape with side A and side B, depending on how you're positioning it. For example, if you are very close to a wall, you can see how the image can distort a little bit, maybe looking a little bit more stretched or wonky, and also if it's transitioning between different walls to the ceiling, the image might be slightly affected. But I guess for more abstract art, it perhaps doesn't matter quite as much, though if you want the best projected result, then the ceiling or lying it flat to be completely perpendicular to the wall is still going to give you the most perfect projected image. So now just a montage quickly going through the other slides in our pack. This one's called Space Window, like an astronaut in a spaceship that is looking down onto planet Earth. I also really like this particular design, and it's quite trippy as the motor there starts to spin. Although again, the speed you can't necessarily make faster or slower as far as that spinning animation is concerned. Might be one other thing they can add to the controls of a more deluxe version or Gen 2 model down the road. And this one here is called Planetary Symphony. It's another more creative version because we have a spaceship nearby here as well, along with a satellite there that is orbiting into the galaxy, but still is very sharp and quite dazzling. And wow, this one is interstellar flight. So we have a spaceship that is between Earth and also the moon, plus a satellite there in the distance, a slightly more close-up perspective, also looking very good in this black and white high contrast shot. And this crazy looking mecha design is called interstellar gravity, another one that is a bit more inspired by sci-fi, I would say, but also looking quite dazzling in this black and white high contrast shot. Last but not least, we have Cosmic Voyager. So it's another astronaut, I think, standing on the moon and looking towards Earth, and we see some of the meteor showers there in the distance. Also looking quite cool. So I can say that the detail contained within these slides seem to be quite good from a sharpness point of view. That being said, maybe another design they can consider in the future would be combining multiple images into one larger slide. For example, maybe a bigger disk that contains a couple of these into one. So for example, when you pop it into the projector, you can just rotate it to switch between a couple of images instead of having to pop out a completely new slide every time that you want to change the image. But overall, again, quality of the slides seem to be pretty decent. And so with that, now moving into the nature slide pack, this one is the purple Fuji mountain, still looking quite dramatic and beautiful as a background lighting piece. But echoing my remarks from earlier, it looks like the color slides are not quite as crispy as the black and white ones. Maybe it's just to my eyes, but it's somehow a little bit softer. Not bad though, and very vibrant looking. I also quite like this one called Alpine Aurora, so we have some of the Alpine mountains with snow, and above it a larger representation of the moon as well as the star. This one here is Santorini Sunset, a very dazzling contrast-rich image of the city down below with the ocean and the stars up above. Pyramid Sky, and actually this one might be one of my favorites so far out of the nature scene set. For some reason I really like the colors, as well as the detail seems a touch sharper on this particular slide. You can see some camels down below there as well, walking there in the desert. Definitely is evoking a pretty calm and serene mood. And this one here is Maldive Memoirs, or kind of a tropical scenery of the night sky with some of the palm trees, coconut trees there in the distance. And the last one from this nature pack is going to be the Sunset Beach, which I think, along with the Pyramid one, might be my two favorites from this particular pack. Once again, the colors and details of this particular slide seem to be presented quite well. We can zoom in and see all of these stars, as well as the ripples of the ocean wave there, along with a beautiful sunset in the distance. And into the final set, which is the fixed stars and constellations, these are the pillars of creation. Almost reminds me of a hand there that is grabbing the universe. And this is the cosmic cliffs. Now perhaps some of these are intentionally a little bit more blurry on the color ones to create more of that dreamlike sequence or effect, almost like your eyes are a little bit more hazy and tired. This one here is the Southern Ring Nebula, another pretty dramatic looking piece, followed by Stephan's Quintet. And this is the Skull and Crossbones Nebula, also is looking quite vibrant and dazzling. Not a bad looking slide if you want something that is just a bit more colorful projected onto the wall or ceiling. And then last but not least, we have the Helix Nebula. And gotta say, this is probably my favorite one from this collection, to be honest. I think it looks really cool in terms of the design, almost like an eye that is staring at you with the red pupil there. And although color and contrast are definitely cranked up a little higher than perhaps the real thing, at least conceptually, it's more realistic versus the laser-based star projectors that we've seen in the past. So there we go, that's been just a closer look at the POCOCO Galaxy Projector. And again, what sets this one apart from all the other models we've seen previously is by using a slide-based design, allowing you to expand on the different types of artwork as well as projections by picking up additional expansion packs. And plus, for fans of astronomy, you can find more realistic references here as well, which is pretty cool to see. That being said, I think the projector itself could perhaps use a more pro model down the line, because although it certainly works and it's relatively small and compact and very quiet for the motor, I would like to see a few more granular controls, again changing the speed of the rotation, as well as maybe even increasing the LED's brightness, offering a few more adjustable dials, maybe even controlling it from a phone remotely, could all be nice to explore down the line. But overall, I still think this is a pretty cool mood lamp / nightlight piece, offering a slightly more refined alternative to some of the other generic models that we've seen previously. Also let us know which slides or packs were your favorite from the ones that we demoed. Are there any additional slide designs that you would like to see added in the future? Feel free to share your thoughts below. So you can check out more details if you're interested in something like this in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. Again, that's been the POCOCO Galaxy Projector Lamp.